Alright, this is my first programming exercise. I'm probably not going to be able to show you everything in this in the view I have because I'm trying out this new screen recorder, and so yeah, and if it's not zoomed in then you can't really read it. But basically how these are going to work is the problem's going to be written right here like it is, and all you're going to do is you can read it, and or I'll read it, and if you think you can do it, you could pause the video and go try and do it, and if you can't, you can watch this. Just, you know, it's self-explanatory that they're programming exercises. So the problem is determine the total, well, I was just typing this quick. Okay, determine the total cost of apples given the number of pounds of apples purchased and the cost per pound of apples. So let me try and bring it down. Okay, we're gonna start this off like a normal program. It assumes, well, I'm assuming you know how to program a little bit to be able to do this stuff. This problem should be pretty easy, including the input-output stream. I'm also gonna include Windows.h, which I'm gonna use it for the sleep command. And if you don't know what that is, basically it's like system pause. I'm using dev C++ as my compiler, so I need some kind of system pause so that, you know, when it gets to the end of the program it doesn't just close. You can see the results. So sleep is basically like interchangeable with system pause in that it does sort of a similar thing. It pauses, it looks like this, and inside here is a number 1000 in sleep. This is what the command looks like, is 1 second. So if you wanted like 5 seconds, that's 5,000. In the same sense, like this is a tenth of a second, and 10 is a hundredth of a second. But basically what it does is it'll pause for that period of time and then close, versus the system pause, where it will ask the user to hit enter, and then it will continue. Okay, moving on. The using namespace standard. If you don't know what that is, that's where instead of typing that every time you want to output something, you can just type the C out. So you probably know that. Just in main. Okay, so now we can start declaring variables. I'm going to use a float type for this, and if you're like a smart ass or something thinking like, oh, you're not going to buy half an apple, you can, you know, that would be kind of stupid to think that way. Yeah, you think of it in terms, we're talking about money, so it could be like $1.25 a pound, and plus you don't always buy exact pounds, obviously. It could be like 2.5 pounds or something. So I'm going to use a float. You can declare your variables in any order, it doesn't matter where you actually, like for the assignment statement, which is going to be the total cost, that actually does matter where you say what it does. You could either declare it like that if you wanted to write out total cost, or you could do it with underscores. Either way is fine. I'm going to use underscores, but I just say that it's a good programming practice to be consistent with your notation. Okay, so total cost, and it says determine the total cost of apples given the number of pounds of apples. So you could just say pounds of apples. Of course, you don't have to write it out that much. It can be simplified, but just improving it. Cost per pound. Cost per pound. Okay. So now basically what we're going to do is, like I was saying before, it doesn't matter in the order that you declare the variables, but, well, yeah, you should declare them at the top, but just in this order like this. I could do cost per pound first, doesn't make a difference. But what does matter is, like, this is going to be our assignment statement. This is going to tell the total cost when the user inputs the pounds of apples and the cost per pound. And that actually has to go after the data has been inputted. If it's before, it will mess up. Okay, so basically all we're going to do is just get the pounds of apples and the cost per pound from the user. So we could say enter the number of pounds of apples, or however you want to phrase it, doesn't really matter. And then you just see in that of apples, right? This should be pretty easy. This is only the first exercise, so it's not very hard. And now you could say enter the cost per pound, right? Should make sense. I'm kind of tired, so I'm messing up quite a bit. Okay. And then you should know the end lines. It's just to put spaces, so it should be pretty easy. I'm gonna move it down a little bit. Okay, and this is where you would declare your assignment statement after you have the data needed to compute the assignment statement. And so we're gonna think about this. What is the total cost? Well, if they're entering the number of apples, number of pounds of apples they bought, and then the cost per pound, well, the total cost is the pounds of apples multiplied by the cost per pound, right? So we're just going to do that. Pounds of apples times cost per pound. And obviously this doesn't have to be in this order. It could be in the other order. If it was cost per pound times pounds of apples, it doesn't make a difference. So, and then when you output this, you can output it a bunch of different ways. You don't have to do it my way. You could use all three variables if you wanted to, and just output them into the answer using what the user had entered. Like, say if you were to phrase this, excuse me. If you were to phrase this, 5 pounds of apples at $2 a pound is $10 or whatever. You could say it like that. But I'm just going to do the total cost is because I don't want to type all that, and it should make sense. So the total cost is, right, and then total cost. Yeah, let me get over so you can see that. All I did was end it. Okay, now this is where you could this is the personal preference where you could either use the sleep, say I wanted to pause it for 5 seconds, right? Or you could do the system pause. Obviously I'm not going to do both, I'm just showing. So you could do one of those two. I'm going to do the sleep this time. And then return 0, signifying that the program is in fact done. Now we're going to run it. Okay. Enter the number of pounds of apples. So let's say 2.5, just because to show that you can use decimals. Enter the cost per pound. Let's do 2, so it's 5. The cost is $5. So there you go. That's exercise 1, and it closed and stopped.